What's up everybody, and welcome to a complete guide of every single recipe in Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Recipes in this game are like item synthesis in other RPGs. You take one item, take it to a chef known as Zesty, and she will turn it into stronger items for you. Recipes are super helpful in that regard. There are a grand total of 57 recipes to make within the OG game, with the remake having one exclusive, making that 58. We got a lot of cooking to do, so let's get straight to it. To start, we're gonna need a chef to cook our food. I mean, we're not gonna do it ourselves. We may have a PhD, but we don't have a chef license. The chef is seen right next to the west side of Rogueport, who's looking for a contact lens. I'm afraid she's gone senile. Old blah. No matter what you do, even if you try and help her look for it, you will always step on the lens. Whether that's your foot or your hammer, you will always break it. And of course, she screams in rage and blames you for doing it, which causes her to block the west side of Rogueport until you bring her a new one. It's a good thing she doesn't need prescription contact lenses, because we can go straight to the shop and custom order it because they don't have it in stock for us. So one chapter later, we give this old lady her vision again and can finally start cooking our meals. Before we start cooking, there are a few things to know. First off, on screen right now is a list of all the base ingredients that you need to make these recipes. Some of them are easy to get, some are not so easy to get. I say base recipes because this leads into my second point right here. I'm going to break these into three categories right here. We're going to start off with the single item recipes, then we're going to move to the double item recipes, then we're going to move on to the actual recipe items. You'll see what I'm talking about when we get to that point right there. Third thing is that some items can work as substitutions for other items, like say a Volt Shroom working for a regular mushroom, or a Life Shroom substituting for a Super Mushroom, or any of the FP items substituting for, the other FP items basically. I'm going to be going over these recipes in their ECE forms, which stands for earliest, easiest, convenience. So the easiest chance you get to having the recipes and the earliest time that they're available to you. Some recipes do have ways of taking different items to make them, but again, I'm going to go over the easiest way to do so. So let's get started. We're going to start off with a dried mushroom, super shroom, any of those. Cooking that will yield the shroom fry, which recovers 6 HP and 2 FP.
I'd recommend not using the super shroom.
What you do want to invest in is cooking a life shroom or a slow shroom, which will yield a shroom roast. This does much better, recovering 15 HP and 5 FP. Much better. But that's not the ultimate one. Cooking an ultra shroom will yield a shroom steak, recovering 30 HP and 10 FP. Is it worth it? No. But there are some combinations which can actually make it better, which you'll see on screen right now. And shroom steaks recover way more in Super Paper Mario, but hey, that's not this game. If you are the cruel, heartless person like I am and beat up on Wacka from Keelhaul Key, getting yourselves a Wacka's Bump, you can take that and have it cooked into a Zest Special, one of the better healing items, recovering 20 HP and 20 FP. There's some combinations that are kind of hard to get to make the Zest Special, but that's an easy one to make right off the bat. For those that fancy a rather posh dinner here, cooking the fresh pasta from Poshley Heights will yield Mario's favorite, the spaghetti. Recovering 6 HP and 4 FP. Yes, the voices were necessary for this. Cooking up a fire flower, horsetail, or dried bouquet will yield a spicy soup, which recovers 4 HP and 4 FP. After Chapter 2 and revealing the location of Chapter 3 on your map, you can go to the Great Tree and play Stump Petuni with Petuni. And if you get the correct question asked to her, you can get what's called a Mystic Egg. Taking that back and cooking it yields you a fried egg, which only recovers 10 HP. Doubling the effects of the Mystic Egg, I believe. I don't have the recipes pulled up on the online. I just have a script that I'm reading right here. So if I say some things wrong, I'm sorry. Now let's say you fancy some tea. Well, if you take a turtley leaf gotten from outside Kroop's house in Petalburg, or by listening to him rant via his Trouble in the Trouble Center, you will get a Koopa tea, which recovers 7 FP, doing much better than just the Koopa or turtley leaf, only recovering, I believe, 3 or 4 FP. But that's not the only tea. If you go and get a golden leaf from the Creepy Steeple,
I understand it's a long run,
you will get the Zest Tea, which recovers 20 FP. If you're willing to make the run, you get a great recovery afterwards. Taking any base FP recovering items, that would be a honey syrup, maple syrup, jam and jelly, I believe slow shrooms as well. Taking that and cooking it, you will get the fresh juice, which recovers 5 FP and cures poison. It's a much better honey syrup, and poison isn't apparent that often. I think it's only apparent like 3 or 4 times, but it's still helpful to have. If you have a gambling problem and gamble at the Pianta Parlor, you can trade your winnings in for a cake mix. Cooking that yields a mousse cake, which recovers 15 FP. Now that is all the single item recipes right there. Now let's move on to the double item recipes. In order to do that though, Zesty needs to level up her cooking skills. She may be a good cook as it is, but she needs more. So she needs a cookbook. Where is said cookbook? Located all the way in the creepy steeple. So after chapter 4, Zesty will make a Trouble in the Trouble Center asking for this legendary cookbook by a legendary chef. Take the cookbook to her, and now she can cook you 2 items for that. Upon completing her trouble, she will cook you a complimentary honey shroom. If you are playing the Paper Mario remake, that honey shroom automatically is added to the list of recipes under Journal. The next 9 recipes that I'm about to talk about are all the combinations of mushrooms and syrups together. So mushroom, super shroom, ultra shroom, and honey syrup, maple syrup, and jam and jelly together. Take each of those combinations together and you get the combination of them. They're all desserts basically. So you have a honey shroom, a maple shroom, and a jelly shroom, a honey super, a maple super, and a jelly super, and a honey ultra, maple ultra, and a jelly ultra. These items make it so that you can heal both your HP and FP at the same time without having to spend 2 turns. And whichever one you cook restores the exact amount of HP as the items on their own. These double item recipes have many alternate ways of cooking them, but I am going to go over the EEC versions of them. We'll start off with a mushroom and a horsetail found right near Petalburg, which yields the Zest Dinner, recovering 10 HP and 10 FP. A little bit weaker than the Zest Special, but it's still good healing.
It's a lot better than the honey shroom.
But if you want the ultimate Zest meal, cooking a Whack-A-Bump and a Golden Leaf yields the Zest Deluxe, which recovers 40 HP and 40 FP. It's a little weaker than the Jelly Ultra, but that is still good health recovery. Now if you take that fresh pasta or even that spaghetti and ruin it by cooking a Turley Leaf with it, you will get the Coup Pasta, which recovers 7 HP and 7 FP. I'm sure Mario doesn't like that his spaghetti is ruined, but it's better than the spaghetti on its own at least. Now if you take any of those pastas, fresh pasta, coup pasta, or spaghetti, and combine it with a hot sauce gotten to you after completing a trouble after chapter 6, you will yield a spicy pasta, which recovers 10 HP, 10 FP, and also raises your attack power. So it's a better power punch in that regard. Cooking a mystic egg and a horsetail, or any sort of recovery mushroom, will yield the omelet meal, which recovers 5 HP and 5 FP. That may not be super advantageous, but this is a recipe that is complimentary of the inn in Poshley Heights. in Poshley Heights? Haha, see what I did there? Anyway, now cooking a Keel Mongo from Keel Hall Key after Chapter 5 with a Turley Leaf will yield the Koopa Bun, recovering just a base 15 FP. Cooking a Turley Leaf with either a Golden Leaf or a Horsetail yields a Healthy Salad, which recovers 15 FP and cures poison. So it's better than the Koopa Bun in that regard, but I don't understand how taking one leaf and a horsetail, meat off of a horse, makes that salad. I don't get it. Now cooking any mushroom except the Ultra Shroom or the Volt Shroom with a cake mix will yield a mushroom cake, recovering 10 HP and 10 FP. So it's like the spicy pasta, just without the attack power. Cooking a cake mix with a Peachy Peach or a Ruin Powder from Far Outpost will yield a Heartful Cake, which recovers 20 FP but makes your defense drop consumed in battle. It basically gives you the soft status, which I hear that's what it does. It drops your defense right there. Luckily, this is a recipe that is hinted at if you take on the Trouble Center, because Merlee will hint at that, saying that you need to go to a toad, ask her the recipe, go back, and there you go. Now cooking any Keel Mongo with any base FP recovery item, so honey, maple syrup, jam and jelly, gradual syrup, I believe, will yield a fruit parfait, which recovers 10 HP and 2 FP for you. Now taking that Keel Mongo with yet another cake mix will yield a Mango Delight. This will recover 10 HP and 3 FP. so a little bit better than the fruit parfait. Cooking a cake mix with a gradual syrup, maple syrup, or mystic egg yields a zest cookie. You sure about that? Which recovers 15 HP and FP at the same time. Now I'm saving the sweet, sweet Ultra Shroom recipe until now because you cook the Ultra Shroom with a cake mix and you get the Shroom Crepe, which covers 30 HP and 20 FP. It's like splitting the 50 HP of the Ultra Shroom across HP and FP in that regard. Cooking a Peachy Peach gotten to you from the Twilight Town Inn with a cake mix yields a Peach Tart, which can give you the dodgy, electrified, or sleeping status effect in battle. So 2 out of 3 of getting a really good status effect. Cooking any of the leaves, turtley or golden, with a slow shroom yields the Shroom Broth. This will lower your defense, but make you recover 2 HP for 5 turns. Is it worth it? No, because the slow shroom on itself recovers 2 HP for 9 turns. Doesn't give you a weaker defense, basically. Now, cooking a hot sauce from Chapter 6 with the turtley leaf or tasty tonic yields the inky sauce, gross, which recovers 30 FP. Maybe not so gross. Cooking up a honey syrup with an ice storm from Keelhaul Key will yield an icicle pop, which is a good FP recovery, recovering 15 FP, but it will freeze you if used in battle. What I want to understand is where Zesty kept a freezer in her kitchen that could instantly freeze it into the shape that we get. Now, if you take the Ice Storm and combine it with a maple syrup or jam and jelly this time, you will get the Zest Frappe, which is like the Icicle Pop, but it recovers 20 FP, but it will still freeze you. Cooking up yet another Ice Storm, there's going to be a lot of these. Ice Storm with a golden leaf will yield a Snow Bunny for you. It doesn't recover any HP or FP, but it is like the Ice Pop. It'll basically freeze you. So don't use it. Cooking up a coconut, honey syrup, or jam and jelly with a cake mix yields candy of the respective names, with the cocoa candy recovering 3 HP and 15 FP, honey candy recovering 20 FP, and jelly candy recovering 64 FP. I'm a big fan of that number. But it'd be a good idea to hang on to that honey candy because it's actually useful in another trouble. Cooking up a cake mix with a Volt Shroom will yield you an Electro Candy. So I guess Electro now has a business outside of not becoming energy or something. This will recover 15 FP and give you the electrified status when you are in battle. So it's basically a better Volt Shroom. Cooking up a cake mix with a Fire Flower or hot sauce will yield the Fire Pop, which recovers 20 FP. You would think that this would set you on fire, but in reality, it's kind of the opposite of the Electro Pop, just recovering more FP with no status. Now, I mentioned the dried bouquet earlier, which is gotten from taking a hot dog to a Bulbulber after completing his trouble in Petalburg. But if you take that and use it with any base healing item, it will yield the Space Food, which recovers 5 HP and cause the allergic status. What is the allergic status? Mario cannot be affected by statuses, good or bad, from what I read on the wiki. Space Food is also complimentary of, I believe, the Far Outpost Inn. Lastly, for 2 item recipes, these are attacking items. So if we take a Mystic Egg and a Coconut and make those with Fire Flowers, they will yield the respective bombs of said name. So we get an Egg Bomb and a Coconut Bomb. The Egg Bomb deals 6 damage to one enemy. The Coconut Bomb deals 7 damage to one enemy. Save those for later because those will make a really cool item. Now that we've gotten through the recipes with 2 items, now moving on to category 3, recipes that require other recipes to be made into new recipes. I know it's a mouthful. To start, we're going to take that inky sauce and combine it with a slow shroom to make a poison mushroom. This will cut your HP in half and poison you, or it has the smallest chance of recovering all of your HP. So it's kind of like getting the mushroom bingo in battle. Cooking up a shooting star with a shroom fry, roast, or steak will yield the meteor meal, which recovers 7 HP at the start and gradually recover HP for 2 turns. Not an attacking item like in the next game. If you take that Snow Bunny and the Spicy Soup, combine those together, you will get a Couple's Cake, which yields 2 HP for 9 turns to both Mario and his partner. It cannot be used outside of battle. This is also another complimentary item of the Goomba in the storeroom trouble on Keelhaul Key. Cooking up a Mystic Egg with the Mango Delight will yield the Love Pudding, which is like the Peach Tart, except it can give you the Invisible, Electrified, or Sleepy status. Cooking up a Poison Shroom with that Couple's Cake will yield the Trial Stew, which will reduce your HP to 1, FP to 0, but it will give you full star power. Why would you want to do that when you can just equip 3 super appeals and get all the star power you need for the move you want? Cooking a courage meal with a zest dinner, special, or deluxe will yield the courage meal, which is an item that you can throw at enemies, dealing 4 HP to them. If you're like me on one of my playthroughs and had to waste a zest deluxe on this to show this off, this sucks. Cooking an egg and coconut bomb, I told you to save those, together will give you the Zest Dynamite, which will deal 7 damage to the entire enemy field. So it's a really good attack item there. Cooking up that inky sauce with any of the previous pastas will yield the ink pasta, which covers 10 HP and 30 FP, so easily the best pasta to make. And if you take yet another ink sauce, sadly she didn't save any for this one, and combine it with that cake mix, you will get the Choco Cake, which recovers 5 HP and 15 FP. This is also another complimentary item of a trouble after Chapter 7, where you have to meet a Toad in Posher Heights with Luigi's clothes on. Exclusive to the remake is the Hottest Dog, which is made with a hot dog and hot sauce, both from Glitzville. This one is pretty cool. It recovers 7 HP and 7 FP, but also charges the user. So you get a free charge for when you need to heal. It's very, very helpful. Now that's all the recipes across both the OG and the remake. But what happens if you cook an item that is not meant to cook? I will try cooking a Fright Mask here. The result is a mistake, recovering just 1 HP and 1 FP. But this is a recipe, so it does count for the recipe book. You may be wondering what the whole big reward is for doing all of these recipes right here. You want to know? Absolutely nothing! Except for a congratulations email that you get in the remake. But in the original, nothing. Other than the knowledge of how to make better items. One aspect of this game that I found out when doing research is that items like the Point Swap and the Mr. Softener can actually be used in a lot of the double recipes. You can basically take existing items and turn them into other items essentially. For example, you can take an Ice Storm with a Point Swap and turn it into a Fire Flower, or vice versa. You can take any of the mushrooms, use a Mr. Softener with them, and basically make a dried shroom with them. I didn't go over these because they don't count for the recipes, plus they're items that you can just buy normally in shops. And that is every single recipe in Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. I apologize if I didn't have footage to show them. I didn't really get around to showing them by the time the LP is over, basically. But that's gonna go ahead and do it, yeah. See you guys next time, where we finally do the game title. See you guys then.